In the long river of history, there is such a figure. He is like a bright and unique star. He has learned both Chinese and Western knowledge, is proficient in the classics of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, and has profound and unique insights into traditional Chinese culture. His life was full of legend. He traveled to many countries and gave numerous lectures. He spread ancient Eastern wisdom to all corners of the world in a special way. He is Mr. Nan Huaijin. Nan Huaijin was born in 1918 in Yukon County, Wenchu, Zhejiang, into a family of scholars. In that era when the new culture movement was surging, he was like a clear stream, swimming upstream and firmly choosing the path of inheriting and promoting China's excellent traditional culture. His childhood and adolescence were spent in a strict traditional Montessori education. Since childhood, he has had a strong interest in Chinese studies, studied the 4 books and 5 classics of Confucianism, dabbled in hundreds of schools of thought, and also practiced various skills such as boxing and swordsmanship. This extensive and in-depth study laid a solid foundation for his future academic research and lectures. Nan Huaijin's life is full of legend. In his early years, he was admitted to the Zhejiang Martial Arts Academy, where he studied under many famous martial arts masters and learned Taoist knowledge, such as the 8 meridians of Kaijing and Shaoqiao. During the days when he was practicing boxing and swordplay by the West Lake, he met a monk named Master Shengshi by chance, and from then on he formed an indissoluble bond with Buddhism. Under the guidance of the Holy Master, he studied the Diamond Sutra and suddenly gained enlightenment and felt an unprecedented spiritual state. This experience not only gave him a deeper understanding of Buddhism, but also strengthened his determination to spread traditional culture. In his life, his achievements were countless. He devoted his life to promoting traditional Chinese culture and was an outstanding cultural communicator. His knowledge is like a majestic treasure house, containing endless treasures of wisdom, covering many fields, such as Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism, medicine, divination, astronomy, boxing, kendo, poetry, etc. He can be said to be knowledgeable and versatile. His works are extremely rich, including more than 30 works, such as the Analects of Confucius, Mencius Bypass, Yuan Daxuwayan, etc., which are like beacons, illuminating the way for people to explore traditional culture. These works have not only been widely circulated in the Chinese cultural circle, but also influenced many foreign friends, giving the world a deeper understanding of Chinese culture. He not only enjoys a high reputation in academia, but also has a wide-ranging influence in society. He spared no effort to spread traditional culture through lecturing, founding magazines and publishing houses, so that more people can understand the profoundness of Chinese culture. In 1949, Nan Huaijin went to Taiwan alone. During his years in Taiwan, he experienced the hardships and setbacks of life. But even in difficult circumstances, he did not give up the research and dissemination of culture. He has taught in many universities, founded the East-West Essence Association, Leogu Culture Company, Shifang Jungle Academy, etc., and also founded the magazines Humanistic World and Zhijian. These efforts of his have built an important platform for spreading Chinese traditional culture in Taiwan. In 2006, Nan Huaijin founded Taihu University Hall and gave public lectures here more than 50 times, attracting students from all over the world. Here, he imparted what he had learned throughout his life to future generations without reservation, and used his wisdom to illuminate the path forward for countless people. Until September 29, 2012, Nan Huaijin passed away at the Taihu University Hall in Suzhou at the age of 95, ending his magnificent life. In today's China, Nan Huaijin's thoughts and spirit still have important practical significance. First of all, he emphasized the inheritance and innovation of traditional culture, which has important implications for us to maintain cultural confidence in the context of globalization and promote the creative transformation and innovative development of China's excellent traditional culture. Secondly, the philosophy of life advocated by Nan Huaijin that Buddha is the heart, Tao is the bones, Confucianism is the appearance, and sees the world magnanimously provides modern people with wisdom to deal with complex social problems. In the fast-paced, high-pressure modern society, people often feel confused and anxious. Nan Huaijin's thoughts can help people find inner peace and strength. The highest state of life is to have Buddha as your heart, Tao as your bones, Confucianism as your appearance, and look at the world with magnanimity. Skills are in hand, energy is in body, thinking is in brain, and you can live your life calmly. There are three basic mistakes that people cannot make. First, having weak virtue but high status. Second, having small wisdom but big plans. Third, having small strength but heavy responsibilities. People can only turn to themselves. No one can be relied on. There is no reliable person in the world, not even your parents, not even your children. You can only rely on yourself. If you don't stand up yourself and expect others to rely on others, you will always be a useless person. Anyone in the world can only do three things in his life. He is either deceiving himself or others, or he is being deceived by others. Do you think people in the world can escape from these three things? If you can escape from these three things, you will have jumped out of the three realms. He who can control his morning can control his life. If a person can't even get up early, what else do you expect him to do throughout the day? The ancients said, a day's plan begins in the morning, a year's plan begins in spring. If you can't catch it in the morning, how can you catch the day? If a person has no self-cultivation in his heart, he will become fierce and indifferent on the surface, but very empty on the inside. Actually, it's not necessary. A good person is good, a poor person is poor, and pain is pain. You must be extra cautious when you are in good times, otherwise you will easily become extremely happy and sad. It is easy to get carried away when you are proud in life. Once you get carried away, you will not know your last name, so evil thoughts and deeds will take advantage of this gap. You see how strange human nature is. Everyone in the world will demand that others be good people and saints. But there will be many reasons to forgive and defend yourself for your own behavior. It means that everyone has a standard ruler and a steelyard in their hands, and they can measure others everywhere to see whether they can meet the size and weight of the sages. But for myself, I rarely weigh myself. There are only 12 words in our life. You can see through it, but you can't bear it. You can think about it, but you can't do it. The first-class people are capable, but have no temper. The second-class people are capable, but have a temper. The lowest class are have no capability and have a bad temper. Heaven is good, but some people would rather die than get tired of hell. Although the paradise world is enviable, some people are willing to bathe in the boundless sea of misery forever. Life has no origin. It is just a flowing phenomenon, like the wind. Heroes can conquer the world, but not themselves. Sages do not want to conquer the world, but conquer themselves. The best thing in the world is joy. The most precious act of kindness in the world is friendship. People are born inexplicably, live helplessly, and finally die without knowing why. Fear is respect. Life without fear is really dangerous. A thoughtful and knowledgeable person, although he grew up through hardships and difficulties, he is more compassionate and generous because he understands life and the joys and sorrows of the world. It is not enough to read positive history, you must also read novels. In the so-called history, the names of people, places, and times are often real, but the content is unreliable. In fiction, the names of people, places, and times are all false, but the story is often true. Why do people need outsiders to say good things about you before you think you are good? The outside world has nothing to do with me. In myself, what I think is good is to laugh as much as I like and cry as much as I like. It has nothing to do with others. If you are poor and you are poor, you will never be worried. If you are poor and sad at the same time, it does not make sense. It would be very unfair to become poor and depressed. The most difficult thing about learning is to be mediocre. People who are content with being mediocre can do anything. Husband and wife are originally destined to have good or bad karma, and there is no chance of them not being compatible. Children are originally debtors. When debts are owed, debts must be repaid. Anyone in the world can only do three things in his life. He is either deceiving himself or others, or he is being deceived by others. Do you think people in the world can escape from these three things? If you can escape from these three things, you will have jumped out of the three realms. If you want anything, you will suffer, but if you don't have desire, you will be strong. In all things, things should be as they come, and the past should not be left behind. Our thoughts and knowledge are all acquired pollution. The more pollution we have, the less natural our lives will be. Life has no origin. It is just a flowing phenomenon, like the wind. Where do you think the wind comes from? You said coming from the northwest, but what about before the northwest? The back is empty. The path of life can be summed up in two ways. One is for fame, and the other is for profit. If you do not seek troubles in your life, then greed will arise. If you do not seek troubles in life, if there are no troubles in the world, arrogance and extravagance will arise. One cannot be without learning or knowledge. What's the use of digging into the dead end just for the sake of knowledge? We do not agree with such knowledge. There is no sudden change in things in the world. Only when we are not wise enough will we see that something is sudden. In fact, there is an antecedent lurking there. Life is like this. There is spring every year, and there is winter every year. This is a phenomenon of birth and death. Thought cells and even all matter also have birth and death, and this will always be the case. Finding the root of the birth and death of life is called becoming a Buddha and achieving Bodhi. There is only one truth in the world, no two or three, but there are some differences in the way of expression between the East and the West. Life only in the hearts of people who are confused by desire must differentiate between superiority and inferiority. Not fighting is the ultimate state of life. A person must first develop the ability to enjoy loneliness, and then you are almost there. You can understand life, and then you can realize a higher realm of life. When you are in poverty, it is easy to grovel. When you are prosperous, you will inevitably become arrogant. People are most afraid of enjoying too much happiness, too much success, and too much peace in their lives, without any sense of worrying, which will poison themselves to death as if they have taken poison. No matter how much wealth you make, you will always feel that there is one less room in the house, one less piece of clothing, and one less sum of money. Reading history for 3,000 years is nothing more than fame and fortune. Enlightening oneself for 90,000 miles will eventually lead to poetry and wine. The three magic weapons of life shine brightly, Be kind-hearted, be temperate in actions, and be humble and not arrogant. Studying is for self-improvement, not for making a living. Everything in this world is suffering, so there are 8 sufferings and 12 sufferings. The 8 sufferings are birth, old age, illness, death, not getting what you want, separation from love, resentment, and hatred, and the 5 yin raging. Commonly speaking, there are 8 sufferings, and there are 12 profound sufferings. The 8 sufferings plus the 4 sufferings of sorrow, grief, worrying, and annoyance, the 12 major principles. In other words, life is living in pain. Only when you are self-interested can you benefit others, and you cannot give to others what you don't have. There are only 3 sentences in a person's life: come out of nowhere, live helplessly, and die without knowing why. From my point of view, whenever an era is in the most chaos and decline, saints will appear. The so-called saints are just doctors of the era. When there is a disease in the entire era, great people will appear as doctors to cure the diseases of the era and the diseases of mankind. There are only 3 points of any human disease, but fear, and disappointment in the heart can aggravate one's disease by 7 points, so be careful. Who will be successful in the future? A stupid person, a person who does not play tricks and is very sincere in doing things to others. This is the law of heaven and earth. In this life, sometimes what you fail to accomplish is actually God protecting you. Filial piety is the first of all good deeds, but the original intention is not the same, and the original traces are poor, and there are no filial sons. The first of all evils is sexual immorality. No one cares about his deeds but his heart. There are few perfect people in the world when it comes to his heart. There is no right or wrong in politics, military affairs, or diplomacy, only interests. How to deal with it temporarily. You must know how to deal with it. But it should be noted that although there is no good or evil, right or wrong, there is still cause and effect. You will never get anywhere by relying on others. It's normal for people to be snobbish. The energy of life comes from quietness. Forget your own kindness, never forget the kindness of others. Arrogance is a form of inferiority. There are 2 things in life that are most difficult to give up. One is wealth, and the other is life. As long as it is beneficial to the world, if you give away your life and property, this is giving. But it's too difficult. Even if you can't do it, you should still aspire to it. The greatest philosophy in life is to grasp well, advance and retreat, gain and loss, survival and death. There are worries about things throughout the ages, and there is no reason for the source of poverty. This heart returns to the true sea, and does not make a trickle to the river. When learning, you must not be afraid of loneliness and desolation. Only with this spirit and attitude can we talk about learning. If you do not seek troubles in your life, then greed will arise. If you do not seek troubles in life, if there are no troubles in the world, arrogance and extravagance will arise. A person should be patient and tolerant in everything. If you can't tolerate even the smallest things, your temper will ruin big things. Many major failures are often caused by small things. When someone hurts you, the best way to deal with it is to be forgiving. On the surface, you are tolerant of others, but the one who really benefits is yourself. With anything and any behavior, it's good to take a step slower. Doing everything to 9.5% is enough. Enough is enough. If you have to do it 100% or go too far, you are guaranteed to have the opposite effect. Life is not absolutely fair. The more you get, the more you give. A person's appearance changes every 7 years. His complexion changes every 7 days. and his charm changes every 7 minutes. Knowledge does not lie in the amount of knowledge, but in the appropriate conduct of life. Life is not absolutely fair. The more you get, the more you give.